mean, even right now, I'm thinking about my trip to Europe. I'm thinking about, like I said, break down all the European cities I could live in for a month and, cost, walkability. I gave it some criteria, stuff like that. But the criteria I gave was very, very light. It can do a great job of that if it understands more about Paul and his values and preferences. It does a terrible job if it just produces a list of 40 European cities with a list of numbers for rents on the right hand side. So context is everything. I was asked to do a book review for two book reviews in the same week, a foreword for two books that are coming out, neither of which were on AI. Quite interesting. And one was a 400-page book and one was a 200-page book. And that I was in the car, my friend was driving, and I thought, how 600 pages and do an incredible job of writing these reviews. So I said, Claude, can you give me a hand here? Well, he says, well, I mean, Claude said, well, I've read everything you've ever written is sitting in Obsidian. As I know your voice is like, how about I ingest the manuscripts and produce a draft for you? And then I felt a little guilty about that. I thought, well, I'm having it right, because a foreword is quite an important introduction to a book. And I thought, how bad is it? And I did say to the people for whom I wrote the forwards, I thought, listen, AI had the first crack at this. It's based around my thinking, my values, my philosophies, my frameworks, and everything that I've ever written. So it's definitely my voice. It's definitely my perspective and everything like that. But I felt I wouldn't do this always, but I said I felt obliged to say this is first draft of this was produced by AI, because it's quite an intimate thing asking someone to write a foreword for your book. Right? It's like asking someone to midwife the birth of your child. It's not quite that, but it's like, anyway. So I found like having that context meant that I could give away 600 pages of reading. Might have been 10 days work to do a decent job on those two forwards. And I did it in an afternoon while I was in the car, actually. I was using this thing called Dispatch on my phone. So I don't know, context.